Hi, this is Aries talking to you from the Tri-Swamp area of South Florida. Election week, that's what this is all about. And first of all, I'd like to thank you all 10 of you who viewed my first ever YouTube post. It had like no sound, I understand. It was pretty good. That was the voting ABCs. This is different. Getting down to the wire here. First of all, I'll start out with some interesting lore about voting. First thing, semi-interesting, my friend told me this, I haven't verified it, but I'm sure it's true. Why is it the first Tuesday in November? They picked Tuesday because way back when there were only so many polling places and some people would have to travel really far, like better part of a day or a day to get to it. So what they would do is if you had, church on Sunday or temple on Saturday, that would give you time to get to the poll on Tuesday. Pretty interesting. But what's really interesting is when this country first started, what they would do was two guys would run for president. And whoever won was president and whoever lost was vice president. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? I mean, there's probably a lot of things you like about Obama, some things you like about McCain. You could have both. But I think it probably didn't work out because, these guys are opponents, and by the time, they get to the White House, they probably hated each other's guts. So it didn't work out. Now we've got this system. Greatest democracy in the world. But look at the choices they give you. I'm not saying this time, this isn't too bad. 4 years ago, we had either George Bush or John Kerry. That's like, what do you want for dessert? Would you like the banana pudding with mustard on top? Or would you rather have the monkfish mousse with chocolate syrup? It's better this time. Don't put too much in the vice president, though. I mean, sometimes you never even hear from these guys. I'm sure they're busy and doing something, but the people who represents us around the world is the president. Let's see, basics. Okay, let me review a couple of those basics if you're a first-time voter, maybe. Let's say the polls close at 8. That means you have to be online by 8. It doesn't mean you have to get there at like 7:15 and maybe I'll get through. When they close the polls, whoever's online gets to vote. That's your right. Let's see, I got a little thing here. Oh, and like one of my sons lost his registration card. He was worried he couldn't vote. All you need is an ID. They look you up in the computer or whatever. I mean, if you have it, bring it with you. But if not, it's not, they're not going to refuse your vote. It's very hard for them to do that. And let's see. Now, voting is one of the most private, confidential things ever. It's great. I mean, you're the only one that really knows who you voted for. Let's say you're in a group and all your friends want to vote for Timmy, but you kind of like Lassie, so, you go, yay, Timmy, you go in there and vote, you vote for Lassie, and then just tell your friends you voted for Timmy, it's perfectly secret. I mean, it's funny because way back in the early 60s maybe, I remember when I was tiny, my mom was all upset after election day because she didn't want my father to find out who she voted for. I guess it wasn't his candidate. It's just kind of funny. But nobody ever knows unless you tell them. And if anybody bugs you online, I mean other people. Now, I'm guilty of online. I kind of like to hint around and say things. You talk about the weather and try to find out who they're voting for, but it's really politics. You're already on the line. It's probably one of the last things you want to do. But if there's people, like 4 years ago, I had these people, and they acted like they were doing a poll, and I didn't, read about all the voters' obligations and rights and everything like I did this year. And they were coming around with a clipboard like they were doing a poll, and they asked me who I was voting for, and I told them, and they started like giving me a hard time. Hey, there's things called exit polls. That's exactly what it is. When you leave and you're off the property of the polling place, they can ask you. You don't have to tell them anything. It's just some pollster clown or a news clown, But if anybody online starts coercing you or anything, like you can wear an Obama shirt or a McCain shirt or whatever, but the pollsters can't. It's like totally neutral, totally confidential. It's really great, believe me. It's a great country. But let's see what else we got here. Oh, and your first timers. This is really who I'd like to talk to. You know, this isn't the 60s. It's not, you know, yeah, I can vote, I got the power, we're going to change the world, you know. Believe me, it's anybody that says they're going to change the world, that's chump change, okay? The world changes, and we got to chase after it and keep up with it. That's what we need, is people that are, and people in their cabinet who will be good at handling the change that happens, and if we're really lucky, we'll get people in there that can predict the change that's going to happen. You can't go change things like the economy. You know, something they could do 4 years ago, some bills they passed in Congress could screw it up 6 years later. You know, I mean, nobody's going to change anything, and if they try, it'll probably get worse. So just, you know, they can try to clean up Washington. I thought one of the candidates said that. I thought that sounded like a good idea, and eliminate waste. But let's see, come from everywhere, first timers, oh, and go with the issues. You know, don't go with what the people look like. Just I kind of have a rule of thumb. I use this, you know, with politics too. But like, let's say you're going to go buy a used car, you know? You're driving along, you see a used car lot, you see a car you like, and you pull in there, and you leave the engine running, and you get out, and you want to look at it before a salesman comes, right? And, you know, you see the salesman coming at you, right? Now, let's say it's Sarah Palin coming at you. You know? Okay, you know, I'd buy a used car from her. Let's say it's Obama, you know. It looks okay, I'll buy a used car from him. McCain. Man, he looks like a nice guy. I'd buy a car from him. And then you see Biden coming. You know, you get in your car and you haul ass. You don't even talk to him. Don't, you know, that's it. Not the way they look, they dress, their age, their skin, but you know, look like whether you can trust them or not. And you know, politician is from the Greek word poliko, which means to lie. I just made that up. But, you know, they're all liars, and actually, you know, that's kind of the job. It's not lying, it's just like white lie BSing sometimes. But, you know, since all politicians are like this, they'll say, you know, you got to find one that's good at it, one that's really good at it. That's what I would say. So, you know, like I say, don't fall for the chump change. Nobody's going to change the world. We didn't change in the 60s. The war was fun. Just, let's not even go there. This is now. Just like Iraq. We're already in Iraq. Whatever, whoever, mistake, whatever. What do we do from here? You know, we don't want to waste all that money. But all I can tell you is please, vote with your brain first and then your heart. And it's really hard to keep up on all these policies and everything. And half the things, the promises they make during the election don't happen anyhow. But just, you know, I'm going to vote for who I think I could trust more. That's all. Who has the experience. But have a good time. Happy Halloween. I'll try to post another. I hope I get a little more than 10 people watching this one. But have a good one, and the elections are coming.